feel like it should have been this in the Richard speech about a week ago. Because, as you probably could guess, I'm a reluctant speaker. In fact, I'm going to try to keep my feet poised and set to the ground so I don't think about running out of here. I really enjoy that Eminem song, Lose Yourself. I identify with it. My palms get sweaty, my legs get heavy, I'm ready, but I'm not really sure what's going to come out of my mouth. I feel like a race car sitting in the driveway too long, and then you go out to start it up and you're not sure if it's going to fire. A couple of weeks back, I was in here listening to the great 662 there at TEDxKeystone. And I would really admire how those kids just kind of flew through it with no fear. I wish I was like that then. Actually, I kind of wish I was like that now. So let me introduce you to the inspiration for my TED Talk. At the beginning of the year, my family and I were heading downstairs to the dining hall for dinner, and an adult got on and started engaging my son in conversation. Hi, how are you? What's your name? How old are you? And my son squeezed back as far as he could in the corner of the elevator, hoping beyond hope probably that it would suck him up whole so that he didn't have to engage with this stranger. After a long pause, the stranger turned to me and said, "Oh, it's okay, he's shy." That prompted me, I felt a little bit guilty. I mean, he got the shyness gene from me. And as young, in North America, being shy isn't really a compliment. That led to annoyance after a while. I mean, he's labeling a little 4-year-old kid through a 30-second interaction in an elevator. I mean, nobody else talks in elevators, so why should he? So, why label people on the basis of that? Labels stick. So what's shyness, after all? The definition of shyness is when you worry about what other people think. It's blushing, it's sweating, it's racing heart, it's avoiding eye contact, it's sometimes remaining quiet. It's being anxious or holding yourself back in social situations. Come to think of it, I'm exhibiting most of the symptoms right now. So think about unseen and unheard, right? Take a look around you. Chances are, if you don't feel shy, the person next to you or around you probably does. In fact, more than 40% of adults worldwide identify themselves as shy. It's taken me a long time to understand my own shyness and learn how to cope with it. And the lesson I've learned is you shouldn't let shyness get in your way. So start now if you're shy. Start now, because labels stick. Sometimes others will tell you you're shy. You don't believe it. If you tell yourself you're shy, you believe it even more. Because self-talk is a powerful tool. You know, the hardest part of preparing for this talk, other than imagining the anxiety I'd be feeling when I was standing up here, was to actually choose one single example in the sea of examples of times when I've let my shyness get in the way of grabbing hold of opportunities. You know, in the business world, networking is more difficult if you're shy. Even those everyday social contact, those interactions become more stressful. It can affect your future success. I know that well. When I was 20, I took a break from university to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. At 22, I accepted a spot in the journalism program and went back. After enjoying my summer, first day of school, I jumped in my car, I drove the 30 minutes out to the campus, and I parked. I couldn't get out of the car. I started cycling through, I was a little bit late, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go in the lecture hall, people will be staring at me, how embarrassed am I going to be? Am I even in the right building? And I cycled through for 20 minutes the thoughts that anxious people like myself get. And after 20 minutes, I put the key back in the ignition, started it, I car up, and I went home. You know, I went back the next day, but journalism program, I really struggled to have those interactions with people at a level that I thought I could manage. So I ended up quitting. Around the same time, I gave up on an internship that I had with Stan Fischler in New York, a sports journalist, just because I didn't have the confidence to do what I needed to do in order to be successful. So, what value is it in labels, in labeling somebody's shop? Well, it's just a label. When I first started working, people called me a snob because I didn't really talk to people. Labels help you to learn what other people think about you. And then knowing what they think about you helps you to work on your own personality within the framework of who you are. I've been an elementary school teacher for 20 years. And in every single class, I stand in front of them and I say, don't care about what people think. Don't care about sharing your opinions. Talk at it. And my reasoning was, primary school friendships never last, right? They hardly ever last. And I hate to say it, but I'd say the same about middle school friendships and high school friendships and on into adulthood. So if you get to a point where you avoid talking or you clam up, struggle against it, right? Those kind of habits grow over time. Now, Rowan Atkinson, Mr. B. You wouldn't guess, but he was a stutterer as a child, and still is. He's a stammerer. Kids used to make fun of him mercilessly. They told him he looked like an alien. And so as a result, he was extremely shy as a child. And yet, he managed to get a master's degree in electrical engineering from Oxford. But he had no passion for it. He knew he wanted to be a comedian. He really enjoyed making people laugh. So he struggled and struggled. Rejection after rejection after rejection because his stutter held him back. But he didn't give up. He knew he was good. And so he persevered. And now look at him, right? He's one of the most recognizable comedians that I know. So unfortunately, I'm not a comedian, right? I started my working life. I spent 10 years working in the back office of a bank. It was a great job for me because I didn't have to talk to anybody. But along the lines, I learned better ways to understand myself, and I learned better ways to communicate with other people. And I learned strategies like the Band-Aid rip that I'll talk about a little bit later. And after that, if I hadn't managed to understand my personality, I'd probably still be there working in the bank. Before I go on to talk about strategies, I just want to say there's something called social anxiety disorder. It's where shyness stops, social anxiety disorder begins. And 50% of social anxiety disorder cases go undiagnosed or treated. Now, just to finish off, there's the step ladder and Band-Aid rip. The step ladder is take things easily, smile, make a compliment, ask a question, do those little things over time until you build up your confidence to do that big thing. There's Band-Aid rip, which I prefer. Set a lofty goal, work towards it, and then just dive in and do it. Richard talked about body language. In a leadership workshop that I did, they talked about how your feet are actually good divining rods for anxiety. So if you keep your feet poised on the ground, all the anxiety just flows out of you through your feet. The next one, practice, practice, practice. I had that one in there, but I thought, depending on how this turned out, I probably wouldn't mention it because you'd think, oh, I should practice more. So practice, practice, practice. I used to practice telling stories in front of a mirror at home. Sometimes I tell my friends stories because I thought they were funny. Whatever you do, if you practice telling stories, it'll be great for job interviews. Join group activities, something I'd highly recommend. I played ice hockey all my life. That's the only social contact I got. Wasn't a shut-in or anything, but you share a topic, you share a bond with people. Group activities are fantastic. Give it a shot. Then lastly, where is it up there? Speak kindly to yourself. Okay. The final story I'm going to tell you is about my son. Every time I put him to bed at night, I ask him, "Who do you love?" And he hopefully says, "Mommy or Daddy," which he does. And then I ask him, "Who do you love the most?" I'm kind of hoping he says Daddy. But what he says is, "I love myself the most." And that leads me to final takeaway. The most lasting labels are the ones we stick on ourselves. So make sure you're kind to yourself. Thank you.